If you're looking to build a repeatable golf swing, well then you must achieve this one key position. And in this video, special guest Tyler McGhie and myself are going to show you our favorite exercise to achieve just that. Let's get stuck in. Okay, Ty, so let's talk about getting stuck in the downswing, mate. I would say it's a common problem for a lot of players, but we do see a lot of better players, lower handicaps, get themselves into a position where by about this stage of the downswing, the hands tend to get too far behind themselves. The club head would trail too far behind the body. And then from there, the body's stalling out and the club's been thrown out at the golf ball, can lead to a few Jose Marias. Otherwise, we're going to see a lot of like tipping back, pulling the arms up and around the body, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that sort of transition move and the differences between where the player who would be getting stuck and then some feelings and some awareness of how to get the hands back in front of the chest so they've got some more room through impact.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, there's obviously lots of factors on why that could happen. If I look at, I would say more the high-end player first or faster player. So as they go up to the top, if they don't have much load in this lead side, when they go to transition, so if there's no stretch here, then I can like keep moving, and it's not going to pull anything with me, right? So if I'm max stretched, right, and then I say, okay, I'm going to move my hip, it's going to pull my hands with my body. It's not going to let me go this way. Another thing, obviously, is if I go and my hips go to fire, but my hands narrow, again, I'm losing that stretch, and then the hand position is going to get behind. So that's two pretty common ones that I see. So not being that efficient in the backswing, and then in transition, having the hands sort of work too far behind their body.
Okay, so what I'm going to get you to do from that is I'm going to swing to the top of my swing here where I would normally feel comfortable. I want you to move my hands to where you would see that player who is getting stuck.
Yeah, so for you right now, you got good width here, right? So the player that's going to get stuck, they're typically going to have that elbow work behind them. So then there's not much pull here on this lead side, and then they're going to keep probably firing their hips trying to get energy, and then that's going to put them in a pretty tough spot, right? So they're going to have to try to do something drastic at impact to save it.
Yeah, so talk to me about this load and this stretch on this lead side a little bit, right? So you essentially what you're saying here is just the greater the turn you have with width, so the distance the hands are away from your body, that creates more of that stretch there.
Yeah, that's right. I think about it from sort of the left foot to the lead hand, right? So as this stretch gets wider, so if I sort of keep that hand there and then you try to move the pelvis, you can see how much that's going to pull, right? So if this is pulling, everything's connected, that's going to keep moving the handle, and then it's going to make it a lot easier to keep things going through impact.
That feels very powerful doing that.
Yeah, you know what? I think I talk a lot about, getting that good stretch in transition, and everyone's a little bit different, but if you're not getting that, that's when you're going to see really slow hand speed and obviously club speed, and that's not ideal for distance, right?
Yeah, for sure. So let's say there is a player and they're getting to the top and this trail arm is moving behind the seam line of the shirt here, which is a reference that we use. Now, what would you get them to kind of work on throughout that motion there?
So I was actually teaching a player yesterday. One thing that we talked about for this player was the idea that when they get here, and you've probably seen it before, but that the grip is actually extending out away from their shoulder, right? It's not going to move closer to their body. So the idea that it's actually keeping that width, sometimes players in the effort to get lag and get power, they'll go this way, right? So that's going to minimize that spacing and minimize that tension in the lead side. But if I push my hands away, as I'm starting to separate you here, instantly I create like a big amount of load into my stomach, and then I can just keep swinging that club from there.
Keep going from there. So let's say we are in this position. Let's say I'm here, right? And am I just trying to get the feel of putting it back there, or am I doing it a little bit earlier on in the swing? What's your recommendation for a player that does get into this sort of stuck position?
I don't want to slow down the lower body. I want to speed up something else, right? So for me, it's, okay, let's keep the lower body firing hard, but can we get, this player might feel like it's hand driven, but it won't be, right? It's like they're thinking, oh, the hands are throwing out as my lower body's going, but that just gives them the right feeling, right? It's not like if we're looking at, sequencing, it might not even be close to that, but it's just the feel that they have.
Yeah. And look, that downswing component's done in 0.25 of a second, right? It's like, as much as you feel like you're speeding something up, it's such a tiny difference
Yeah.
compared to the feel and the reel and putting those together more so than what's actually happening.
Exactly.
Right. So is there a drill outside of the feel? Do you do any single-handed work? Do you get them to get a sensation of trying to position the hand somewhere from the top as a reference for the players at home, what they do from there?
Yeah, I mean, you could do it in sort of two parts. So you could go just, if we went club upside down, what's it like to really feel like I'm extending the club out, almost trying to get it to speed up back here as the lower body is going that way. So you can see how that would push my hands away from my body. Yeah, and that's going to hopefully give them a sense of what it's like to use, I'd say, the right muscles when they're transitioning versus someone that sort of does that. They probably wouldn't feel much sort of through the stomach there coming into impact.
I can feel a lot of hand speed there of that coming back down in front. And it's a really nice feeling as I do that. And I know I haven't added in that sort of like shift and rotation yet, but just trying to accelerate that back in feels like I'm now creating much more of a whipping effect as that club's about to
yeah, and like you can see like if we extended it so it's the speed's going here, and then as you come into impact, you just let everything keep going. So then you'll start to sense, okay, what's the, yeah, exactly.
Good. Yeah, and look, time and time again, one of the old drills of putting the impact bag out in front.
Yeah.
That's definitely a sensation of everything kind of lining up where it should
That's
do.
right, yeah, and usually those players that have that tendency, they're not used to their hands moving that fast that early. Yeah. So it's a really good sense for them to start to probably help sequence things a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. Just feels like the hands are getting more organized in regards to the sternum and coming back down to impact. All right, let's take that feel into a ball, see how it comes out. Nice, man.
Nice, lovely.
Love it.
Awesome, dude.